don't get, if you're asymptomatic, you don't have anything to treat, really.
Yeah, what are they gonna, I don't know if they got to pay for your food, your bed. You have to be in a facility.
Yeah.
I don't think they let you go out to 7-Eleven and get a toasty or anything, you know.
Hey folks, and welcome back to Pattaya. Today we're going to talk about insurance, the kind of insurance you need in case you get sick or injured in an accident or some kind of incident. For me, it's required. It may or may not be required for you, depending. It's all dependent upon your status here, but there is one type of insurance, rather new, that's required for everybody, even if you're just a casual 2-week visitor here. You have to get this insurance. So I'm going to bring my agent in. He's a bit of an expert. There's a hospital here on the right. That's quite fitting for our subject matter today. At any rate, I'll bring him in. I have to renew my policy today anyway, so we'll grill him a little bit about all this. And look, my old pal Rudy's back in town. He's fresh from the Phuket sandbox. We'll talk to him next time, but let's go get something to eat first.
I don't know. Can't go to a restaurant. I'm thinking maybe I'll just make something at home. So I came over here to the Chinese temple. No, it's a grocery store. That's a grocery store called Friendship Market. And I haven't been in there in ages, and because I have a really good grocery store right by me that has Western products. But I'll go in there and see if I see anything interesting, and I'll just whip it up at home maybe. And if I do, I'll show you. But no guarantees. I might see nothing and we just walk out. I'm supposed to be meeting a guy to renew my health insurance, so we'll go over that. I did a video last year about health insurance and some of the requirements and the different policies. I've gotten so many questions, just kind of peppered in throughout the last year about that, people wanting the contact information. We'll go through all that, and we'll see what's what with that and whatever else is shaking and going on.
So a year ago, I went to Bangkok, the big city, and I met with the folks at Pacific Cross, specifically Michael. Say hi. I got Michael a special, his own camera. Anyway, that way we can sit distanced and all that. You know how it goes. But anyway, I've been happy with it. And over the last year, after I did the video, I've gotten so many questions, and they wanted to know where they could get it and how much it is and all that. So I'll lead into this by saying what I said last time, and that is it's a very personal thing, health insurance. Everybody's going to be different. So mine is the policy that I choose, the coverage that I get, the deductible that I get, matched with my medical history and my age. That's one set of factors, and that generates my price. Last year, my insurance was $45,000. This year, it was closer to $40,000 because I didn't make a claim. I got a discount.
No claim bonus.
I got a no claim bonus of like 5% or something like that. So almost 10%.
10%.
Yeah, 10%. So it's cheaper this year than it was last year. So I'm the same person with the same everything, and now mine's cheaper this year than it was last year. Age matters and medical history matters. So that's the big thing. Now, a couple of the big questions that I've had over the last year is, well, why do I need insurance? And so why do I need it to begin with? Because you can go to a Thai hospital fairly cheaply. A lot of people say they want to self-insure, and I guess that's a possibility, but depending on what kind of visa you have, it may be a requirement of your visa. So for me, I need to have, what's the minimum for a visa, 800,000?
That is for non-OA visa or for the entry? For non-OA visa, you're required to have 400,000 baht inpatient and 40,000 baht in your outpatient cover.
Okay.
Plus the entry requirement of $100,000.
400,000 baht coverage and 40,000 outpatient, right?
That's right, yeah.
So I've got on the inpatient 400,000. I got like 10 times that. I got like 5 million.
Yeah. It depends on the clients. I'd say that people who are covered in the United States, and if they do have some kind of a coverage in Thailand, they would be thinking that if something happens to me, I'll go back to my country and get treatment there. To answer your question, some of our clients who do have comprehensive insurance policies in Thailand, and if they need to buy a Thai insurance company to satisfy their visa requirement, they will be buying the cheapest policies, the minimum policies, and also apply a deductible onto the policy to lower the cost and get the certificates.
So that's one way, but the other thing is you can still have any day of the week here, you can have an accident, an incident, or it could be a health problem. or with what's going on now, it could be something Rona related, we'll just say. So for those reasons, you may need health insurance, because before we even talk about Rona, just a regular, maybe even before that existed, your typical hospital claim, if somebody's had a heart attack or somebody's had to go to the hospital for a big thing, what kind of claims do you see? Usually how much are they for like a big, maybe they had to have a surgery or something like that?
Sure. The biggest claim that I've ever heard of was about 11.5 million baht. It was a leukemia claim.
Okay.
It was very dramatic, because at the end of it, we had a call from a wife, and she said, "Thank you for saving our husband's life." It was actually a moment where I felt that I'm doing something right here.
That's about 400,000 US dollars, by the way.
Yeah.
But that would be the highest.
That was the highest, I would say. If you're talking about oncology, so cancer stuff, that ranges from 4 million to 7 million baht on average. Again, it depends on the hospital choices. In Thailand, we don't have something called a market price for treating a certain condition.
It depends on the government
Depending on the private hospitals, yeah.
So now the insurance that I have, and I have what's called the Maxima plan. You still have the 4 plans? You have the...
We have the standard plans, we have the premier plans, Maxima and Ultima.
Oh, 4 plans.
4 plans.
So I have number 3.
There's actually 9 plans, but there are 4 categories within which they're planned. So there's 9 plans in total. You have one of our most comprehensive policies. You have no limits on hospital choices. You can go to any hospital you like. It's cashless.
I like that. I like being able to... Because this is another thing. Let me interrupt you
Yeah,
for
please,
1 second.
please.
And especially, you guys know I travel around a lot. In Pattaya, we're a little bit spoiled because we have, 6 major hospitals in Pattaya? I mean, there's Memorial, there's the Bangkok Hospital. You can't swing a dead cat without hitting a hospital around here. But what if you're not here? What if I'm out in Isan or somewhere else, Phetchabun? Who knows where the closest hospital is, or what even hospital is available? So the fact that I can go to anyone, that was important for me. You might have a great hospital here, whether it be private or government that you like. But when you're traveling to somewhere else, it's good to just know, well, I can go to whatever's closest. You know what I mean? If there's one hospital I can go to.
Absolutely, yeah. and plus, unlike with what you'll have with some insurance companies that are overseas, when you're dealing with a Thai insurer, you would usually have a direct billing with almost all Thai hospitals. That means you don't have to pay, then claim your money back. You give them your card, and it's processed automatically. So that's a big advantage of working with Thai insurer.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. So I can present on my policy or whatever, and not have to pay first.
Yeah, that's right.
So no out of pocket. That's another good one. So we were talking before Michael and I were just spending some time talking first, and I asked him, because I have a lot of people in the parlance of our days here that are concerned about being tested positive, getting chosen for some kind of test. You come up positive for Rona, and they ship you off to a field hospital here or some kind of hospital for 2 weeks. And even if you feel fine, even if you are asymptomatic, you're just walking down the road or riding down the road, you get tested. Next thing you know, you're like shuttled off into something. This has happened. This has happened with people. If you know somebody it's happened to, drop me a comment. But this has happened to people. I've seen news articles. So my insurance policy does cover that. You call it what?
We call it asymptomatic treatment. So in Thailand, if you have COVID-19 positive, your hospitalization will be found medically necessarily. And we cover that. So the biggest expense there comes from miscellaneous expenses.
Right.
Changing gloves, changing clothes, the doctors come in and out all the time to make sure that it doesn't spread. So that's where most money is spent to. You don't get, if you're asymptomatic, you don't have anything to treat really.
Yeah, what are they gonna, I don't know if they got to pay for your food, your bed. You have to be in a facility.
Yeah.
I don't think they let you go out to 7-Eleven and get a toasty or anything, you know. But so
yeah,
that's one of the things. So last year when I got this policy, that wasn't even a thing. That didn't exist yet. And that's something new that's happened here in the last, 6 months or so. It's kind of when that's really started. So it's nice to know that that's covered anyway. And I hope I never have to need it, but that is covered. So now if you're coming here now, even if it's just for, well, I don't know, the people that need the 100,000 coverage, is that just for a tourist, a regular tourist, like a Phuket sandbox person? Or?
Right, so even if you have done your vaccination, you will still be required to present $100,000 COVID-19 certificate. Yeah, and you're covered for that as well. So we cover illnesses, accidents, including COVID-19 virus as well.
So how many of those have you issued? Have you issued quite a few of those
For
lately?
COVID-19?
Just the people saying, I'm coming, I need a certificate, need the 100,000.
I'd say more or less a couple of thousand.
Oh, wow. I thought you were going to say a couple, like, oh, we did 5 or 10 of them. You've done a couple thousand of those?
Yeah.
Wow.
Since the COVID-19 began, I would say a couple of thousand. We do have a lot of representatives all around Thailand, so I would say a couple of thousand.
Oh, okay. Well, I think I'm not sure I explained this right last year, so we're going to do a better job of it this time. Because I got a couple messages from people that said, oh, thanks for the contact information, it was great, I got my policy. I got others that said, they wouldn't take me, I found better insurance at X, Y, and Z. So the reason that sometimes they won't take you is like a pre-existing condition or your medical history, and that's different for everybody. There may just be an exclusion on your policy for a medical history problem. Premium may be so high that it just is not feasible, or they might just say they're not doing it. But that's what they say at Pacific Cross. At some of the other companies, they'll just say, yeah, here's your policy. Oh, you had a heart attack 2 months ago, no problem, here's your policy. But wait till you make a claim and they say that, oh, by the way, that was a pre-existing condition and it says right here we don't cover it.
When it comes to underwriting, full medical underwriting, it's a blessing and a curse. It's a blessing because you know you have certainty. You know what you're going to be covered for if you go for medical treatment, as long as you declared everything to your knowledge. With moratorium, you never really know until you go and try and make a claim, right? You have a conversation with a doctor, and you tell your doctor that 5 years ago you've had migraines, for example, right? That information goes to a health insurance company. That wasn't declared, right? So that becomes a problem. So we encourage all our clients to simply declare everything to the best of their knowledge, and there will never be any problems. It's good for the insurer and it's good for the client himself. One very important thing we've talked about previously about the medical history disregarded when companies issue insurance and they cover their employees and they can be covered for premiums. Yeah. Most of the time, these group policies are not portable. I would recommend everybody who is watching us right now to have a conversation with their HR and ask them a simple question. When I will retire or resign, can I take away the policy with me? That's a very important question to ask because life is such that when we tend to get to the age of 65, 70, we tend to develop some kind of conditions. That's exactly when you need health insurance. So I recommend to a lot of people to make sure that health insurance is planned long term. So by the time when you're 65, 70, 80, you're covered. We on our end provide lifetime renewability. So once we take our clients, we will be covering them for as long as they want us to be covering them. So this is a very important subject as well.
I've had little things. I've gone to the clinic. It's regular routine outpatient kind of care for cleaning a wound, even a couple stitches. Things like that are pretty cheap here. Depending on where you go, but that is pretty cheap. You really don't need insurance for that. So, in Thailand, pretty much, the policyholder like me, they pay the premium once a year all up front.
That's if you're in Thailand, you can easily do that option. We have a semi-annual payment term where you can pay twice a year. We have quarterly payment term where you can pay every quarter. For clients that are overseas, we can now only issue semi-annual payment because some people tend to buy, quarter of a policy, come into the country, cancel their policy, we'll refund them, of course, but we will notify the immigration services that, well, this person has been canceling their policy, and it's just a requirement. It became a law now. The insurance company now must update database there. So for clients who are coming overseas, it's either annual payment or it's paying twice a year.
So, but people like me who live here,
For people like you, you could have quarterly payment, semi-annual payment.
I can do quarterly or semi. Okay, so I don't have to pay all at once. But
You don't have to.
I don't like. I'll forget to pay. That's what would happen. I would forget, or I'll be somewhere. I would just rather pay it all up front and be done with it. But that's good that that's an option, because I thought the only option was to pay up front. So it's not. If you live here and you're here, you do have some options on the table there, and there are 3 or 4 different policies. Well, I guess usually 9, but there's 4 different categories.
Right.
But how do people get a hold of you? So if they are getting ready to move here, or they live here now, and they want to quote on a policy, what's the best practice for them?
What we can do is we can leave an email address. You can forward that email address to your subscribers, to your followers, and everybody who is interested in health insurance, they can send an email there, and we'll get back to them and find a solution that suits them.
I'll leave the email address in my description block. Just click that email link, and a representative will get back in touch with you if you want to quote, if you want questions about coverage, because we can't go into the whole thing here. Like I said, it is very personal. Everybody's going to be different. The fact that I have 5 million baht worth of coverage for 40,000 baht for this year, that there may not be anybody else like that. It's just, that's my circumstances with the deductible that I chose, with the no claim bonus that I've accumulated. That's just my personal thing. So don't use that price and say, oh, I can get it for that. You're going to get it for what they quote you for. That's what it's going to be.
Yeah.
And if I'm a year or 2 older, it'll probably shoot up. So,
One thing about that, we are very proud of the fact that we haven't changed our prices in the past 7 years.
Oh, wow.
So they have been the same. Now, what we have is premiums for each age category, so you can know exactly what your policy will cost you when you're 95 years old.
oh wow.
Right? You can take into account your no-claim bonus, your deductible, your outpatient exclusion if you don't have an OA
I
visa.
think the next level is like 55 years old.
Yeah, that's when that's when you enter a new age bracket. It changes up.
55 to 60 or 55 to 59.
Yeah.
Yes, I still got a couple years on the lower rates still. So I'll go ahead and enjoy that.
Yeah.
But no, they're right. I saw that. You can see that on their website. That's the other thing. You can just go to their website, and they've got most of that stuff right there. The chart with the different ages. And
Right.
It's like a spreadsheet with the amount of coverage and the different ages. You can see right off the bat. But the medical history, all that will come into variance, and the type of deductible that you want, or that you can comfortably afford, or maybe you don't want anything. Who knows? But I hope that answers enough questions. It's that time of year for me. I'm going to renew my policy right here today, and I have it for the whole year. And I thought it would just be a good time to do a refresher, because I did get a lot of big response last year. So that's who I use, Pacific Cross. That's the policy that I have. I've been happy with it. And I tried to answer some of the questions that I would get. But during the course of the year, if I get a question, I just forward it to Michael anyway. So a big thanks to Michael for coming to Pattaya to see me, so I didn't have to go to Bangkok this year. Last year I went to Bangkok to see him. They have a nice office there. I like their location in Bangkok, right by the river. Not far from the Mandarin Oriental Hotel. That's like around the corner from you, right there on the river.
Yeah. It's on BTS Surasak.
BTS.
Surasak.
Suicide, right.
Yeah.
Right, I took the BTS there. I rode the BTS. All right, Michael, well, I'm going to get out and about and do the thing, and we'll dot all the I's and cross all the T's here, and that'll be it. So, if you need insurance, that's what I have.
So not a bad score. Just looking around, sometimes you see something, sometimes you don't. But today, Saw some really good looking bread, and then they were slicing fresh deli ham that looked good. So I thought, hey, a ham sandwich. I got some cheese. These tomatoes, I'll show you the tomatoes. I mean, you take that for granted, but those are not, you can't really get those here. I mean, the tomatoes, the local tomatoes are nothing like that. That's the kind of tomato I'm used to, those beefsteak tomatoes or whatever they're called. It's very nice, refreshing to get that. So that's a treat, even though it seems like just something normally. And I thought on the side I'd have some sauerkraut. I thought that would go good with the ham. Another thing you don't see everywhere. So I'm gonna go home and make myself a ham Sammy.
So there you go. Something as simple as a ham sandwich can be special if you have the right ingredients, I guess. And mine sure was good. I piled it on thick. It might have been too big of a sandwich, actually, but I enjoyed it. At any rate, I hope I answered some questions in reference to health insurance. I think it was good having Michael there, and his link is in the description below because I'm no expert in any of this. All I know is I was able to renew my policy at a 10% discount this year because I hadn't made any claims. It's reasons like that I like the company that I'm with, saving 10%. What's not to like? But at any rate, hope you enjoyed the episode, but I'm going to go ahead and leave this one off right here. And as usual, I'll thank you for watching. And until next time, bye for now.